gimmicks. Yeah. No gimmicks, taking over, no limits. Motivation, the truth inside everything you are hearing. Important live, know you feel it. Wrestling is everything that we will know with special meaning. We on it live with no gimmicks. No gimmicks.
What's good, everybody? It's your boy Todd Smith here once again, alongside my tag team partner Dale Clifford out there in Fernley, Nevada. Welcome to yet another episode of the No Gimmicks podcast, broadcasting on the 3 and Out Radio Network. Dale, what's good, my man?
What's up, Todd? It is pretty exciting interview we got coming up. It's a pay-per-view week for ROH, and we're actually very excited to have a member of the Ring of Honor roster join us as we get ready for Final Battle. So very excited about this.
Yes, indeed. Joining us this week on the No Gimmicks podcast, the Notorious Shane Taylor. Shane,
right.
What's good, my man?
What's going on, guys? Thank you for having me. It's an honor and a privilege.
Hey, man, it's an honor and privilege to have you on the show, brother. So, hey, let's dive right into this, okay? First and foremost, you've got a huge Fatal 4-Way match coming up here on the 15th against your former Rebellion stablemate, Kenny King, also Punishment Martinez, and Silas Young. ROH TV title on the line here at Final Battle. So what's going to be your strategy to outlast the other 3 competitors and to walk away victorious with your first ROH title?
My strategy is the same as it's always been. It's the same strategy that I had growing up on the streets of Cleveland on the east side. I punch people in the face, and I punch people really hard. And if all of them can continue to stand up to that and continue to take that, then they deserve to win. But my strategy is going to be simple. I'm going to cock back my right hand and then start letting it fly, and we'll see who's still standing.
All right, sounds like a effective plan to me.
Who do you think is your biggest threat in the match?
I mean, you would have to say Kenny King because he's the champion. You know what I mean? Like he doesn't have that belt for a reason, or he doesn't have the belt for no reason. You know, when you look at the win he had over Kushida and the defenses that he's had, you know, he's proven himself to be a legitimate champion. He's one of the most athletic and one of the best performers that we have in ROH. So to not give him that accolade would be an injustice to him. So going in as the champion, he's the one with the target on his back. He's the one that's the most dangerous. With that being said, though, he's also outnumbered. Yeah, you know, and he's now dealing with 3 of the next best. So that does put him at the disadvantage. So outside of Kenny being the champion, both Punishment and Silas Young present very unique problems for all of us. You know, Punishment may be one of the most agile big men in Ring of Honor, if not in all of professional wrestling. The things that he can do through the air, as well as some of his strikes, you know, brutal moveset. You know, and Silas is one of the toughest dudes I've ever been around. One of the toughest dudes that I've seen compete. The man just has a motor like nobody else. And you know, the wild card in all of this could be Beer City Bruiser. You know, I don't know if he's going to be out there. I don't know what to expect with that. So my game plan is just going to go into it thinking he's going to be out there and be prepared for that. And, you know, kind of just have eyes in the back of my head.
Just to reiterate what you just said, Shane, I was at Northeast Wrestling Holiday Havoc out there in Waterbury on Friday night. I got a up close and personal view of Punishment Martinez. He was taking on Josh Bridges tonight. That guy is impressive, man. All 6'6" or 6'7" of them. That dude can fly through the air with ease, and like you said, and he can strike with the best of them. So yeah, you got your handful, but hey, I think they're gonna be taking a handful from you as well too. Dale,
for sure.
What you got for Shane, man?
So, how do you think the card for this year's Final Battle stacks up compared to years in the past?
I think Ring of Honor is only getting better, you know, so each time this show comes around, I feel like we put on the best card that we've had. When you look at some of the matches there, you've got, you know, Cody Rhodes against Dalton Castle. You've got the 4-way, and just so many other great competitors. I believe it's the Briscoes against Bully Ray and Dreamer. I think that's one of the ones there. I mean, that match alone is, when you look at the history of all those guys and you look at what they've done across the world, that's an international and worldwide dream match. That's a pay-per-view main event anywhere in the world. So you've got so many matches on this card that could hold their own. And so this card backs up the final battle card, in my opinion.
Yeah. If things go as planned, I will be out there in New York City for that show, man. I'll get to see all the action unfold right in front of my eyes here. So, hey, next question I got for you, Shane. Who were some of your idols and some of your inspirations in the pro wrestling business as you were growing up?
Can you say it again, but speak up a bit?
Sure, not a problem. I was curious, who were some of your idols and your inspirations as you were coming up and watching professional wrestling?
Oh, man. Some of the guys that I looked up to were guys like Vader, guys like The Undertaker. I was a huge fan of Bad News Brown. And just seeing guys that, because I was always a big kid. So guys that, I couldn't relate to the guys with, the 25 pack and the oil all on them and they were super jacked. But looking at guys like that and guys like Stan Hansen too, to be able to say, okay, you can be a big guy and kind of just beat folks up like that. I can do, so that was always what I looked at. And then to add in the athleticism and the agility that both Taker and Vader have, as I continue to hone my game and to add weapons to my arsenal, that's something that I was like, okay, now you can be a big guy and still do that stuff and still, knock guys out. So that taking a little bit from all of those men and adding it to what I do and adding it to what I'm good at is the style of is my game plan.
Cool. Yeah, I can relate to somebody that got 25 pack of beer in the fridge. That's about all I can relate to. I don't know about the whole muscle thing, though. Dale, what you got next for Shane?
So I believe you have a football background. How far did you end up taking your football career?
I played football in college.
Okay.
Played till I was about a junior. And one of those things that when you're going into that last year, you have to make some choices and kind of be real with yourself. And I was a long snapper and a center, and I still practice that. So if I wanted to probably try out for the NFL at long snapping, I could probably do it. But I knew my heart wasn't in that. I knew that I didn't want to look back, 10 years from now or 20 years from now and wonder, could I have chased my dream and not have done it? So I made the decision there that I was going to put all of my heart, effort, and ability into this beautiful world of professional wrestling.
Hey, what school, Shane? What school did you play for?
Say it again.
Which university did you play football for?
Slippery Rock.
Okay. Now, for those of us who aren't familiar, where's that located at?
It's located in Slippery Rock, Pennsylvania. It's about an hour outside of Pittsburgh.
Okay, got you. So, Shane, tell us and our viewers a little bit about the training that you received from your arch nemesis, Ray Rowe, from the Tag Team War Machine.
Arch Nemesis is a good term. But Ray and I have a very love-hate sort of brotherhood. He's one of my best friends and legitimately someone that I consider a big brother, a godfather to my daughter. And if we're going to talk about that, then we've got to go back to the beginning, which is where we first met, which was in high school.
Okay.
My school wrestled his I went to Normandy in Cleveland, same as the Miz, but he was there way before me. And Ray went to St. Ignatius, which is one of the two like private powerhouse schools. You got like St. Ignatius and then St. Ed's. Ray went to St. Ignatius, and so we wrestled. Then he won. You know, I was sick that day or something, but he won. And then fast forward to about 2006 or 2007, I linked up with him again, and a guy by the name of J Rock, and then talked to them, and they agreed to take me under their wing and show me what professional wrestling was all about. And I'm truly thankful for that, because they made me who I am. You know, not only was the training physically taxing, but they also prepped me for the mental side of this game, and the emotional side, and the business side, and to not only prepare myself in ring, but almost, if not more so, prepare myself for what happens out of the ring, to be able to deal with the financials, to be able to keep my composure in certain situations. And really, they gave me a great all-around training to be ready for anything that gets thrown my way when it comes to this sport.
Hey, that's good stuff, man. As we all know, there's a thin line between love and hate. So, Dale, what you got next for Shane?
So, well, what led to you getting the nickname Notorious?
That come as well as a lot of my nicknames that I have come from actual things that I had to do growing up. You know, I grew up on the east side of Cleveland, Ohio. And for those that aren't from there, it's tough to explain exactly what that life is like if you're not from there. And I grew up there when they weren't trying to fix it. You know what I mean? Like, they just didn't care. So I remember growing up, and the house that we lived in, my brothers and I couldn't sit on the couches in our living room. We weren't allowed to, because my dad would fight all of the drug dealers on the corner because he didn't want them selling drugs on our corner. So what they would do is they would come by and shoot at our house like every other week. So I remember there just being constantly just glass breaking and having to stay low to the ground. And I remember, seeing the fear in my mom's eyes and my brother's eyes, and just going through that. So once I was old enough to sort of deal with things myself, I sort of, would help my dad and assume that role of making sure that at least on our corner, at least by our house, they weren't doing it. So learning how to fight and my ability to kind of put guys down and put guys away, that led to my name growing within certain circles. And so then at that point, once people started knowing who I was, that's kind of and I was a bigger kid too. So of course the BIG reference came into play, but
okay,
my ability to sort of hold my own and give anybody a real problem that they didn't want was how that nickname came into play, as well as One Punch Shane, and all of that, because I hit really hard. Like,
well, I believe you.
but also with years of boxing, I'm extremely accurate, so I know where to hit you, because as a big kid didn't have a lot of breath, so I wanted to make sure that when I threw the shots, they landed and you were done. So there's an art form to the violence.
Okay, hey Dale, remind me to stay on this dude's good side, okay?
Same for me, man. I don't want to be going the other
No,
direction.
man. we got no problems, man. Like I said, in those situations, man, like growing up like that, you're forced to grow up very fast, and you're forced to be in situations that most people either never see in their lifetime or very rarely see. You know, I've been on record saying I've gone to over 100 funerals of, you know, friends and family by the time I was 15 years old. You know, I've seen nothing but death and destruction since I was a young age. So for me, I know what that is, and I don't fear that. So that changes my perspective on a lot of things, because where some people would be like, well, what if this happens? I go, well, this is the worst that can happen. I already know what that it's about. So there's really no reason for me to be scared. So that allows me to be very free in a lot of the things that I do.
Wow, man. Hey, so one thing I've been curious about, because you and Keith Lee pair up as a fearsome tag team by the name of the Pretty Boy Killers. That has got to be one of the most unique names for a tag team I've ever heard. How in the hell did y'all come up with that name besides the obvious? Because we know you can hold your own and whatnot. I'm quite sure Keith Lee can as well. But I mean, like, what made y'all come up with that name for your tag team?
Actually, we didn't come up with the name. A buddy of mine from Ohio used to call himself that, and his name was Trip Lee. And I heard it and was like, yo, that is the best thing I've ever heard, you know, as far as nicknames go. And where we adopted it was just our ideals of what wrestling can be and what the images that you're shown, and to kind of let folks know that while being 6'5" and jacked to the gills and all that is great, you don't that's not the only thing that can draw and make cash. That's not the only thing that can entertain a crowd.
Right.
So if you're going to write us off for just not looking that way, then we're going to make you pay for it. And if you're not going to give us the opportunities to showcase our abilities because we don't look like that, we're going to make you pay for it. So that was the mindset going with that name. Okay.
So now, how did the pairing actually come together? Like, I mean, like, how did you and Keith meet, and like, how did they say, all right, we're going to take these two and just like, you know, make them just like smash, you know, on people? Like, what made that happen?
We met once I moved down here to Texas to a company that was called Lone Star Championship Wrestling. And, you know, they had some ties with the NWA and all of that. So I remember when there was talks about sending a team over to Japan to maybe go against Kojima and Tenzan for the tag titles, or it may even have been Killer Elite Squad at that time. That I looked at Keith and was like, hey man, I know what you can do as a singles guy. You know what I can do, but there is nobody on the planet that looks like us as a team. There's nobody that looks like us individually, and especially not in Japan, you know? So looking at that, the goal was, okay, if we come together to do something, we need to make sure that we can present this at a worldwide, at a national stage and an international worldwide stage, to really let folks know just what we're about.
Okay, so that was New Japan that gave you that opportunity, then, huh?
No. That the company itself was called Lone Star Championship Wrestling. That's where we first teamed up. But the goals were to create a worldwide brand with the team. That's what we were looking at, you know. Okay. But we got to start as the team at Lone Star.
Okay, yeah, I would definitely love to see you all face off against some of them dudes, man. That was what made some solid matches, man. Dale, what you got next for Shane?
So obviously you've hit on a little bit. You've got some one-punch power, and you've been kind of using that lately as a finisher. Do we have we come up with a name for it?
The one-hitter quitter, brother.
Yep, that makes sense.
What it is, you know. And again, it's That's the style, man. Like, and it makes my fights and my matches unique because it can either go 30 minutes or it can go 30 seconds. You know, you never know. You kind of always have to be watching, and because when I find an opening, then I'm going to throw it. And when I do, and it connects, I don't care who you are. I don't care how tough you are. I don't care what your legacy is. I don't care who your family members are. I don't care who you think you know or the accolades that you have. When that hits you, you go to sleep. And you know, that's going to be the game plan from here on out. I don't have to out wrestle you. I don't even have to outstrike you. I don't have to out grapple you. I don't have to do any of that. I simply have to land one shot. And if I do, game over.
It's good night. So now, hey, we're familiar with your work in Ring of Honor. You just mentioned Lone Star Championship Wrestling. What other companies have you wrestled for?
I've wrestled for a bunch, man. I've been very blessed to work for, you know, like down here in Texas, you know, there's VIP wrestling in the Dallas area, as well as SOAR Championship Wrestling and Branded Outlaw. That's right near San Antonio. One of my favorites to work at in the Louisiana area is Wildcat Sports with Luke Hawks. He's one of the guys that helped me cultivate who I am today as well, you know, in his own way. He gave me the platform to do a lot and believed in me from the very start, and really showed that and put the faith in me that not only can I be, you know, a main event guy, you know, in any promotion, but I can be the guy in any promotion, and really sort of let me have that experience there. And that's done wonders for not only my confidence, but just the way that I approach a lot of things, you know, as well as like the International Wrestling Cartel in Pittsburgh, and just so many different places all around the country that I've gotten to wrestle. Truly been a blessing. Cool.
So now, dude, you just mentioned Luke Hotz. That was a guy. He was Ultra Boy Luke, and that's PW back in the day. Okay, yes, I remember that dude. Okay, yeah, that's what I thought he was. All right.
This is weird. That's long before the days of huge arms and all that. You know, I'm trying to censor myself for the podcast, but you know, yeah, long time ago.
Cool, man. All right, Dale, what you got next for Shane?
Just following up on the ones that you've worked for, any that you can think of like immediately that you would like to work for that you haven't had a chance to yet?
I mean, well, of course, you know, I hear great things about Jersey All Pro. I hear great things about Maryland Championship Wrestling, as well as PWG out in Cali. I know Defy with my boy Shane Strickland starting to get a great name. You know, Combat Zone and a lot of the big indie staples I would love to hit, just because I think my style now, and as well as the changes that I've made to my body, I think there are a lot of great matchups that I could have with a lot of great guys, one of which I'm looking forward to at some point is myself and Sami Callihan.
Okay.
And as well as, you know, Strickland, and a lot of guys from that crew, because, you know, when you see guys make waves, you want to be a part of that. And when those are the baddest guys on the scene, the way I grew up, you want to make a name for yourself, go up and punch the baddest dude in the face, you know? So that's my thought process in all of that.
Hey, so now Defy, I want to say they just got a live look-in on Impact Wrestling this past week. I was telling Dale about that. You know, they're doing this thing where like each week they're kind of featuring, you know, talent from Noah or like from the Crash or you know, I think AAA and whatnot. But yeah, for the first time they actually featured a match from Defy with Sami Callihan, matter of fact.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. You know, that whole group sort of kind of runs indie wrestling right now. If you think about who you see in every place that you can think of, it's some sort of combination of those, 15 to 20 guys.
Yeah.
That it's that circle of guys. So that makes a lot of sense.
Okay. Shay, have you ever had the opportunity to work as a face, or have you been a heel the majority of your career?
It sort of varies depending on where I'm at, and varies as to who I'm wrestling. A lot of people like what I do, and they like the style, and they like the hard hitting. Until I'm against the guy that they love, and they don't want to see their guy get beat down. So then they don't like me as much. But I've been able to do both. I actually prefer being a heel because just naturally, I don't really care about what a lot of things people have to say. A lot of people want to give their opinions on a lot of things, and a lot of people have no idea what they're talking about, nor have the experience to really talk about it. So I dismiss a lot of things from the gate. So being a heel is way more my speed.
All right, keep it 100. Dale, what you got next for him?
So obviously we talked about some of the promotions you want to work for. What would be a dream opponent, if you could think of one, and any type of special match stipulation?
Ooh. Are we talking like present day wrestlers, or are we talking all time stuff?
Any. I was like, well, give me present day and then all time.
Yep.
Okay. Pastime, we'll do myself versus Vader in Atlanta, Georgia, for in any kind of match, because I just feel like that would have been one of the most hard hitting matches that could have gone down. There's nothing like standing toe to toe with somebody, knowing both of you are going to throw bombs, and just seeing who's going to drop first. To me, there's something very exciting about that, and I like getting hit, so to be able to take the shots and then dish them back and really test the other person's heart, that would have been really fun for me. Dream match scenario, present day, that I talk about all the time and that we discuss, and is something that we're working towards, would be myself versus Raymond Rowe in the Tokyo Dome, preferably for a championship, to be able to tell that story and completely go from being on the streets of Cleveland, Ohio, to the Tokyo Dome, just two kids from Cleveland just making good, and beating the hell out of each other. To me, that's one of the things that when I get up and and you look for that motivation that day to do what you need to do, that is one of the visions that I always go back to.
Right on, man. Hey, so now we have an idea of what you want to accomplish, in the wrestling business. I'm just kind of curious, what are some of your personal interests outside of wrestling?
Outside of wrestling, I'm a big gamer, man. Like, I lead a very boring life. Like, growing up the way I did, man, I've seen a lot, done a lot, and now, I'm gonna be 32 this month. So to me now, it's all about just kicking back and spending time with my family and just enjoying that. I'm a big gamer, so I was actually playing 2K just now when you guys called. So so playing that and the UFC games since 2006, when they started making those games. Every game that's come out, I've been ranked top 10 in the world in.
Oh wow!
Yeah, so it's really real. And speaking of, I want to put a challenge out now, and you guys can use this, because the up down down game gaming channel for Xavier Woods and all those guys.
Yes, we do.
They talk about them being the best at these games and passing around this title. None of them can beat me in that game, man. And
okay,
all right.
if we're talking about gaming and we're talking about really seeing who's the best, I know he played Kenny Omega in Street Fighter. So hey, any of them boys want to come get it with the real champ, they can get it and they can catch these hands. You know, so you know, just putting that out there. But yeah, that's what I like to do, and just sit back and just kind of chill, man. Play some games and just hang out with my boys and hang out with my family.
Hey, man, I will take you on in Street Fighter. Okay, that's my game right there. And if you dare step to the plate, hey, I'm Fire Pro all day, man. I don't mess with them WWE 2K games. If you want to get me on Fire Pro, Shane, we could throw down on that.
Listen, I'm down for whatever. This is what I tell guys. You give me a warm-up game, and you better hope that it's not close. Because if it's close, you'll never beat me again, ever.
All right.
At anything. Like ask Kenny King about his Madden game. He was claiming to be the king of Madden. I had to shut him down. You see what I'm saying? So you give me the warm-up to figure out the controls, and it's a wrap for you.
All right. We'll trade gamer tags and all that once the podcast is over.
All right.
So Dale's going to introduce us to the next section of the No Games podcast, which is called what, Dale?
Cleveland rocks. Well, I guess for you it will. It's like for us, us West Coasters, not so much. But we'll go into a Cleveland rock segment here. And we just wanted to get your take on Cleveland trading away Kyrie Irving.
Oh, that's a good one. I was actually talking to Matt Taven about this the other day, because Matt is all Boston, everything, you know. And this is the thing. While it hurts to see him in a Boston jersey, because I know the talent that he has and what he brought to the team, if someone isn't going to be happy in a situation for whatever reason, then you have to cut ties with that person, because what you're trying to build won't be what you need it to be if they're going to bring down the ship. Not saying that he wouldn't have done his job, because of course he would have. And maybe through the course of the season they settle the differences and all of that. But if he wasn't going to be happy here, gotta let him go. They got great stuff for him. So I mean, and he seems to be helping them win. And so I mean, hey, it worked out best for both teams. And the Cavs are rocking right now, and that's even without Isaiah Thomas yet. So I mean, it sucks to not see him in Cleveland, but if he's happy in Boston, man, hey, it is what it is.
All right. Hey, so point blank, man, can they win a championship without Kyrie?
Yes.
Okay. Next question.
Go ahead. Isaiah Thomas kind of does what Kyrie does, right? He's the penetrator, he's the assist guy, and he can make his own shots. And he might be a little bit more explosive than Kyrie because he's smaller than Kyrie. So you take that with, I'm sure, a mindset that LeBron can morph into whatever he wants it to be, and you use the pieces that they have around them, I feel like, yes, they can definitely win a championship.
Okay. So now to follow that up, does LeBron remain in Cleveland after this season?
Yes. I don't think LA has anything for him, at least as far as the Lakers go. And the Clippers are still rebuilding. So LA has its own, if they had a contending sort of team, I would be like, I don't really know. But right now, I feel like, LeBron's brand is Cleveland. I feel like they're synonymous with each other. And I think the story overall is better with him being and staying in Cleveland.
Okay.
If they continue to win.
Yeah, I can't disagree with that one. But obviously, so we're going to turn from a team that does win fairly often in the Cavaliers to the Cleveland team that doesn't win.
Here it comes.
And want to know, do you think that the Browns can get a win before the season's over? We've got the Packers, Ravens, Bears, and Steelers on the schedule.
Oh, that's tough, man. That's tough. I mean,
the Niners beat the Bears today, if that gives you any hope.
Not really. Not really. The thing is, I with the Packers, maybe because Rodgers is hurt. They're a completely different team without him. With the Steelers, man, if they're all healthy, that's tough. And the Ravens, that's also tough. But again, it's also a division game, so you never know. But right now, I just think there's too much inconsistency with the front office. There's too much inconsistency with the coaching. I hate personally when they pick a quarterback and then they switch him and they change. Like that's not how you build. That's not how you build a team.
Right.
You know, if you're gonna give me the keys, man, give me the keys and just let me drive. Like bumping into stuff or not, just let me drive. You know. And I feel like if they're doing more harm than good, and the guys blocking for them can't get a consistent reading from them because they never know, because guys move differently, you know, and you expect him to be here, but he's over there now, you know what I mean? But that doesn't happen when you have that consistency and you play with those guys for an extended period of time. It takes seasons to build that. You know, ask anybody that's played football or played on the line. When you have guys that you've played with for years, it's a much better team. And it could not just be because of the talent. It's because you know each other and you know what to expect and you know what you need to do. So when they're constantly tinkering with things, it just puts them in a constant state of rebuilding, which as a fan is super frustrating. But you know, and as ownership, it's like either you're going to put a winner on the field or step aside and let somebody else do it. Like, but I feel like because we didn't have the team for so long, that the ownership knows that we're just going to sell out the stadiums anyway. So why try, I guess? But you're doing a disservice to your guys. You're doing a disservice to a loyal fan base, and you're doing a disservice to the brand, you know, because people. I see it, babe. Okay. People in the city remember when the Browns were good. Like in the 80s, the Browns were one of the teams. You know what I mean? Like people remember that. So you know. We want to feel that again. And now I think the pressure is sort of on them because for a while, like the Cavs were losing too, the Indians were mediocre. So like the Browns could just be like, hey, you know, we're kind of at the same thing. But now the Cavs won a championship. The Indians should have won a World Series, but didn't. You know, so now people are like, hey, no, we see you losing. Fix that. Like.
Hey, so not quite Cleveland, but from the same state. And we just had to ask you this question because this is current events here. How do you feel about Ohio State getting left out of the college football playoffs again?
That's tough. But at the same time, they did it to themselves. They were riding high after the Penn State game and then had that letdown against Iowa. So I mean, that with the Oklahoma loss too, like that's on them. You know what I mean? If you want to get into the playoff, win your games. Period. I believe if they do that, they're a big enough school and they have a hard enough schedule that they get in. But you know, that loss to Iowa really hurt. You know, so you can't really blame the polls there. You know what I mean? Like that's on you to go out and execute.
All right, one more Cleveland question from Dale now.
So where would you rather spend the day, Cedar Point or the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? Or give us another option.
Ooh, okay. The choice between those two, I would say Cedar Point. Because, I mean, you're talking about roller coasters versus a museum, which I mean, as cool as it is, it's like, hey, do you want chocolate cake or would you want a Triscuit? You know what I mean? Like, obviously, you're going to eat the chocolate cake. Like, it's just more appealing. It's more exciting. Nothing wrong with Triscuits. You know, if they want to sponsor, I'm your guy. You know, but. Of those two, probably Cedar Point because my family would just love it in the whole nine. But if I had to pick one thing to do just in general, it would probably be Tower City, going to Tower City at Christmas time, because they light up the whole building and there's just a million things to do down in that area, and that's something that I grew up doing and was tradition in my family. So to be able to take my family now to go do that would be something that I really love to do.
Very cool, man. Hey, so Shane, at this time, we would love to give you the opportunity to promote Ring of Honor or any upcoming appearances you have or any projects which you're involved in. So at this point in time, Shane Taylor, the floor is yours.
I appreciate it, guys. And once again, December 15th in New York City at the Hammerstein Ballroom, Ring of Honor presents Final Battle. Check that out, ROHWrestling.com on how you can view it. Also, I do believe it's on the Fight TV app. If anybody's looking for Shane Taylor merchandise, please go to prowrestlingtees.com/Shane Taylor. And check out, my Twitter and Instagram at Shane216 Taylor, Facebook.com/Notorious Shane Taylor. And again, just be on the lookout for new designs, new merchandise, new gear. And I want to thank everybody who's been so supportive thus far and has seen me grow as a performer and as a man. We're just getting started.
Hey, Shane, it's been a pleasure having you on, man. It's been good to know you over about the past half hour or so. But, hey, one thing is for sure. We wish we could sit here and talk with you all night long. But, unfortunately, we have came to the end of this episode of No Gimmicks Podcast. So, thank you, everyone, for tuning in for our interview with Notorious Shane Taylor. So, hey, we are No Gimmicks, No Image, all wrestling, all the time. Please subscribe, like, comment, and share our videos.
No gimmicks. Yeah. No gimmicks, taking over, no limits. Motivation, the truth inside everything you are hearing. Reporting live, know you feel it. Wrestling is everything that we won't know with special meaning. We on it live with no gimmicks.